Greetings, everyone. So, I was talking to my friend of all at work the other day. Learned a little bit more about Islam and Kurdish culture, and we laughed our asses off at a couple of moments. I'm trying to remember everything. I really got to make a journal. I know at one point he was talking about how he wanted to go to Michigan. And he was like asking me how long it takes to go to Michigan. It was like 7 hours up there and 7 hours back or something like that. And I was like, why do you want to go to Michigan? Of all places you could go. He's like, I don't know. I heard it's a nice place, nice downtown. I'm like, have you heard of Gatlinburg? And he's like, no, what is this? I started showing him videos of like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and everybody like walking around. He's like, oh my god, this is like what I've been looking for. Something like this. Like, you know, because in Kurdistan, everybody stays up all day long, 24/7. There's always people out and about doing stuff. Here, everything closes like 8 or 9 o'clock. It's just, town is dead. There's nothing to do. Nobody leaves their homes. I actually just went to the bowling alley tonight to see what it was like since I haven't been there in like 25 years. And it was just like all old people. And nobody was bowling. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I just left immediately. I was like, this ain't my scene. But like, yeah, so I don't know if he's going to go to Gatlinburg or whatever, but we started watching this video. This German guy was talking about Kurdish culture and stuff, and he was talking about these people called the Yazidis, which are kind of like extreme. I don't know, they're not really like extreme Muslims. They're kind of like the Amish of the Christians. They're kind of like, he said they won't marry Kurds, but if somebody from another culture that's not Yazidi, they're not supposed to marry anybody that's not Yazidi, basically. They have all these weird beliefs. Let me look up some of the beliefs. You can marry them, but you gotta kidnap them. So I was like, okay, that sounds kind of cool, because I remember like in the Vikings show they were always talking about, you know, like kidnapping your wife and taking her away from her father's family or whatever, and it was kind of like, and he was like, no, it's not like that. Like, you actually got to like grab them and like take them away, and then they never see their family again. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So it's like actual kidnapping. He's like, yeah, I mean, we kept like going back and forth, like trying to figure out what's going on. And I was like, so when you kidnap them, the father's parents is like the only grandparents their kids are ever going to see. Is that right? He's like, yeah, pretty much. It's because it's kind of like they shun them or exile them, like the Amish. Like if you marry somebody outside your culture, they never want to see you again. It's like they're okay with it, but it's not allowed in their culture, so you have to kidnap them because it's not allowed, and then they just never want to see you again. I'm like, that's horrible. Like, why would you never want to see them again? And then I was like, I just assumed like the woman wanted to be kidnapped, and he kind of made it sound like she didn't. I'm like, does she even want to be kidnapped? Like, does she want to marry this guy, or is he just like, I find you attractive, I'm just going to steal you away, want to come in the middle of the night, put a sack over your head, and like drag you out? He's like, oh, once she's kidnapped, she'll marry you. I'm like, well, what? What are you talking about? So then he kind of just, I think we settled on they do like meet each other beforehand. And like he was saying, like, no, what happens is you'll say, let's go to McDonald's tonight and we'll run away together. So he's talking about like running away together, getting married, but then also they never want to see you again because you married outside your race or whatever it is. We also started talking about like we always get talking about religion somehow. We started talking about like he was saying something about heaven, like what I would want it to be like, or we were talking about like, do you have to poop in heaven? Like, do you eat? He's like, no, you don't really have to eat, but there's supposed to be a river that's made out of wine, but it doesn't get you drunk. I started laughing my ass off. I was like, oh, so it tastes bad and you don't get drunk? What are you talking about? I was like, you know, wine doesn't taste good, right? He's like, does it? I'm like, no, it tastes horrible. It doesn't. The only reason you drink it is to get drunk. But if you can't even get drunk, like, why would you want this wine? It's like, doesn't get you drunk. It's like, and then he was saying, oh, there's also a river that's supposed to be made out of yogurt. This is like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. What do you mean yogurt? Because what he calls yogurt is what we call sour cream. I'm pretty sure it's like bacteria. You put it in like milk, boil it, cool it down, blah blah blah. So I was like, what do you use the yogurt for? Like, you dip meat in it or something? It's like, yeah, you could probably have meat in heaven. I'm like, you don't have to eat. I'm like, well, you have to kill animals? You gotta like gut it and skin it? And what are you talking about? What's going on? We got it was so funny to us, like trying to figure out like what the hell's going on with heaven. There was some kind of thing I realized about Islam. They have like this thing like haram and halal. Like haram is bad, halal is good. You can't do. We're not supposed to do because it's just like unclean or whatever, right? One of them is like drinking out of a golden cup. I don't know what that's about. And I thought like they can't drink alcohol, but it's mainly just wine. You can't drink wine, but you could drink beer. Because he was talking about we should open up like a bar, like a DJ club, nightclub, and then just serve beer. I'm like, I don't know if that would be very popular.